administrative head whose only degree is spirituality.
Who is Dadi? One of the spiritual giants, that have come to the full expression of what a human being can be.
She's just like that.
She's smart. She is a little bit irreverent. She is the one who will tell you what's true about you.
And you have to rise to the vision that she has for you, and that's a challenge.
And she started talking to me about conscience and how our conscience has become clouded with so many influences. And I said, well, how does one clean the conscience? And she said, through meditation. And I thought, I have to learn meditation.
Do you know any head of an organization of 1 million members with 9,000 branches around the world?
I'm organizing every year leadership journeys with my top business leaders. And we went to visit Mount Abu. So we found an organization that had sold nothing but seemed to have enough money, has no roles and goals, no manuals, no variable pay, no bonus schemes, no shares, and was very well organized. There you learned about a leader like Dadi Janki, who was the head of a large organization, that there's another way of leading organizations, not necessarily by structure and processes, but more by the power of who she is. So not by the power of position, but by the power of her being.
Have you ever known a leader who took her position at 92 years old and is still active in that position at 100 years old?
In 1974, she came abroad. Her first stop was London. And from London, she started to serve the whole world, basically. And Dadi Janki, at the age of 92, then took on the mantle of leadership of the whole organization. And so she started a new job, age 92 at that time. Today, she still travels over the world. Age is not a factor. The spirit is eternal and very strong.
Have you ever seen a female leader who is one of the most traveled ladies in the world? Have you ever met a chairperson whose right hand is God Himself.
हमने कोई कुछ किया नहीं है, पर उसकी उम्मीदें निमित्त हमारे थ्रू पूरी कर रहा है.
And so I always feel as if I am not doing anything, but it's the hopes of the Supreme, the feelings of the Supreme that are being translated through me, that are working through me and benefiting others.
Dadi, of course, always talks about her connection with God all the time. And I have great difficulties with that. And I found a way around it. So whenever she speaks about God, I write God with 2 O's. And I ultimately believe that is what she really means. When she says connect to God, what you really do mentally and emotionally, you connect to good. And I think when she says first connect to God, I say first connect to good, and then we're on the same page again.
Om Shanti, everyone, and welcome to today's webcast, a tribute to Dadi Janki. I'd like to welcome Brother Charlie from Australia to share a few words.
So thank you so much, Helen, and it's incredibly touching to be a part of this, and even just to see those few minutes of video of Dadi. And I actually remember when Dadi Ji passed away, I was there like many on this webinar, and many of you will remember we sat in Dadi Ji's meeting hall and shared stories for hours and hours. It was so touching and therapeutic, and I sort of see this meeting a little bit like that. And so many stories flooded through my mind over the last few days, and because Dadi was the first BK I ever saw. When I was in London, I went to a talk with her and Genti Ben, and I've been really reflecting. Dadi impacted me like everybody on so many levels, but probably the thing that has really influenced me as a person most was just that incredible, unshakable, unlimited, imperishable love for one Baba. And I've actually been playing Robin Gibb's song, Mother of Love, a few times over the last few days. I just love that song. And to me, it just embodies a lot of the feelings I've had for Dadi. But I remember once we were in an RC meeting, I think, and we were talking, in our own way, and Dadi stopped us and gave us this drishti, and I think, as I said, her eyes come in front of my mind, that sparkling, radiating, that twinkle, and that extraordinary sort of divine love, that pure love, which to me is just the embodiment of this life. And I remember after minutes of just this pouring love into the room, she said, "It's love that makes me move. It's love that makes me tireless. It's love that helps me cross all obstacles in my life. And it's love that has taken me beyond all limits." And I think that, that's been the most powerful impact perhaps of Dadi's life on me, is just really how to fall in love with God, and just so much that that love just propels you beyond so much stuff, so much of my human stuff and my limitations and my weakness. And the way Daddy, I remember once in a class, she said something like, I'm paraphrasing her, she said that when she was young, you know, even if a dog would bark, she would jump. And she went on to say she was quite a timid and frightened thing. It's hard to imagine, but, you know, I just feel it's her love for Baba, her love for One, which has been coming out most for me in the last few days. It's just taken her to that incredible, incredible state which she reached. And I also remember one thing which really touched me, because Daddy was the intellect of the wise, the one who fathomed the depths of truth and was able to articulate them to all of us. And when she said something like, the ultimate result of all knowledge is to be completely loving, and that when we absorb truth into the core of my being, how does it come out? How does truth appear in life? It appears as that divine love. And to me, Daddy was just such an image of divine love. And to me, that love with her intellect, that incredible wisdom, just made her the most amazingly powerful person. And I've just been sharing that she's passed on with so many contacts here, and I'm just amazed at the beautiful comments that Daddy impacted their lives in a way that very few other people have. So it's just really lovely to be connected with all the family at this time, as this incredible soul who's impacted all of us has passed on. And so I really want to thank you, and I especially Moini Ben, who we're going to hear from in a little while. So thanks from the heart to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Charlie. I'd like to invite Sister Elizabeth from Ethiopia to share with us. Om Shanti, Sister Elizabeth. You're just muted still. We just have to unmute you so you can.
Oh, okay. Om Shanti. Good afternoon from this side. My experience from our sweet Daddy G, who has left us. I remember that in 1983, my first visit to Mount Abu and my first meeting with Bab Dada. At that time, Daddy was not feeling well, and we were meeting Baba, and she was in her room. And Baba was told Daddy's not able to come. But in that process, when they were telling Baba Daddy's not able to come, she appeared from the door. We were so happy and clapping. Everybody was happy. And then Baba asked Daddy, shall I take you just because the body is not cooperative? And this response was such a great that Daddy said, Baba, I have not completed my job. And Baba said, okay, you have a new life. And it was really an experience, because after that time, Daddy G had traveled all over. And it gave me such deep experience. I had also that determination to follow in the footsteps of Daddy, that determination to have love for Baba and to have love for service. And then another experience which I would like to share is during our NCCC's meeting, really Daddy was, sometimes we are told Daddy G is not able to come, and all of a sudden Daddy is there. And really, it is really a sign of great determination and love for the instrument souls. I know when we were there, Daddy G had, it is like new life, new enthusiasm. And it is because she wanted to fill us with so much love, so much enthusiasm, and to teach us and show us how much we can be masters of the physical body. Like the body can be weak or the body can be anything, but the soul, the power of the soul. And this was really revealed through Dadiji, although the body was frail, to come at Amrit Vela and conduct meditation for us. In fact, one day it made me cry. I said, look at Daddy. At this time, at this age, if it was anybody else, we'd just be lazy in bed and say, my body is not okay. But Daddy Ji really was a great example. And I appreciate, her sharing with us the power, the love for Baba, the love for us, and how I should also appreciate all Baba's children who are instruments in service, in the field of service for Baba. So thank you for this opportunity. I am so grateful that I could share with the Divine Family. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Sister Elizabeth. I'd like to welcome Brother Eric from Canada to join us. Thank you.
Hello, Om Shanti, and greetings, everyone. And so glad that I can be part also of this incredible moment. I don't know about you, but for me, the sound of my heart, I think, has changed a little bit the last few days. It used to make, like everybody else, boom, 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 boom. And now I think it's just making daddy, 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 daddy. So the heartbeat has changed a little bit. And, like Charlie, also, I was remembering when Daddy Ji passed away. And it feels to me as if, my two grandmothers are gone now. And when I came to Baba, I was 21 years old. And I always found that Dadi Ji and Dadi Janki were like my two grandmothers. Like in the Lokik world, we have always two grandmothers. And maybe for me, Dadi Ji showed me the expression of love in a beautiful way, which is maybe the visible form of the tree of love. But I would say that for me, Dadi Janki really taught me to see the roots of the tree of love. Daddy Kumarka was the fireworks, of love and the visible aspect of love. But when I think upon all the meetings I had with Dadi Janki and what she really worked, how she worked on me and the impact she has on my life, has been really about showing me the roots of that tree of love. And if those roots are not there, the tree cannot be sustained. If the intellect, the golden vessel, is not pure, and she insisted all the time on that honesty, purity, cleanliness of the vessel, so we can hold that love. And I remember one time when she came to Edmonton in the 90s, I think, and I welcomed her in Edmonton. I was young and, I wanted to show her the city, and I was proud of showing her the city. After 10 minutes, she said, Eric, it's been too long since Daddy has done elevated karma. Let's go and do some elevated karma. And I felt my car change into an ambulance when instead of having a patient that needs immediate care, it seemed like I had a doctor who was in urgency to heal the patient somewhere. So we had to find some people to sit in front of Daddy so she can give them some gyan or something. And the next day, I think it was Thursday, so in Baba's home, I was making halva. And she was so short. I mean, she could barely see what was in the pot, but she took, a spoon and she was stirring the halva. And then she saw me coming up with lemon juice. I said, no, we don't put lemon juice in halva. And we had an argument, and I told Daddy, no, lemon juice is very good in halva. You like it. And then we had a little fight and ended up, we put some halva, and she actually really liked it. There would be so many stories to tell about that relationship of love. But, for me, the way she touched my heart is absolutely unique. And maybe one of the best way to express that love was one day when I wrote her many, many letters of love, of course, complain sometimes or little Maya, but, French being deep into me, I sent her messages of love with roses and just expressing my heart. And one day I was talking to Hansaben, and Hansaben said, you know what she did when she finished reading your letter? She just took your letter and she kissed it. And to me, that was the best response I could ever have from Daddy. that you did kiss my letter after reading it. So I have this beautiful picture of me and her always, hugging. That was in Gyan Sarovar. We had a beautiful moment, and I think Daddy will always be in my heart. I know time is short, but from my heart to Daddy and to all of you, lots of love and 3 times Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Brother Eric. Om Shanti. We're going to watch a brief video.
हर आंगन तरसा
Om Shanti. We'd like to welcome Brother Ken from Brazil to share a few words. And Brother Ken, if you'd like, you can also choose to stream video as well. We can
Shanti a todos.
Om Shanti.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Om
you, Brother
Shanti,
Ken.
everyone. Yeah, we're in. Pardon?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Om Shanti, everyone. We have been, all of us, the whole world actually, moved not only by Daddy's life, but also the way that the simplicity of the way she left us to very touching. I remember very clearly one scene, even though I took birth out of Daddy's drishti, and she was the inspiration for me to go off and do service in Australia, especially when I was alone there. An incredible inspiration, a sort of a sustenance, a subtle sustenance from London, because telephone calls in those days were prohibitive. And then an enormous support when Daddy G asked me to go to Brazil. But there are so many experiences that come onto my mind, but I think what personifies for me what Daddy is for us, I won't use the past tense because she continues present in our hearts. It was a scene a couple of years ago. Every year we had our RC meetings, and Daddy was always a part of it, always wanting us to go to a higher level, always wanting us to go to a special feeling in our hearts above the business of service, actually. And there was a situation that came up in which we were talking about a particular conflict somewhere. And somebody asked Daddy, what do we do when there's a conflict between Brahmins? And Daddy became very silent. And she started to invite every single one who was in that room with the RCs, every one of us. There were about 15 or 16 of us all together, I think, in the room. And every single one, she just gave such a long drishti. This was the answer to how to resolve conflicts, actually. She gave long drishti, maybe a few minutes, and then a very, very loving hug. I think the whole scene with everyone took about an hour. But Daddy was just giving us so much love through drishti. And of course, the hug that Eric just showed us, that was also there. Very, like, she's so tiny and I'm so big, for example. Everyone laughed exactly when Daddy hugs me because maybe I was twice her size. But that scene just touched me so much, and it touched all of us who were in that room at the time. It's as if, what can you really discuss about conflicts? No, you have to show love. Just have to show love. So at the end of that, of course, the question was answered and we remained happy. So these are there are so many such touching scenes with Dadi Janki. And on the other side, everyone remembers not only the Om Shanti, but Daddy's finger. So it was like an honor if Daddy called attention to it somehow or the other, because she would tell us that it's because you are a close soul that I feel free to share what's in my heart about your own progress. So Daddy's finger. And of course, always pointing to Baba. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Brother Ken. I'd like to welcome Sister Judy from the USA to share.
Om Shanti. Thank you to all of you for the invitation. It really took me down a memory lane with Dadi. And I'm sure, like all of you, my heart is very full of gratitude and a little bit of missing. Special thanks to Hansa and to the team that cared for her so much at the end. It was really comforting to know that she was in such good hands. So I thought about a lot of different moments with her, things, pieces of wisdom, lots of love, the care, etc. And what I finally landed on was a time 14 years ago when she was turning 90, and Gayatri and I went to her saying we wanted to write a book in her honor. And she thought about it for a minute, and then she said, no, thanks. I don't really need a book. So we went back, thought about it, came back to her again and said, well, Dadi, we'd like to write a book about service, which you care about a lot, and those who serve and what goes on in their hearts. So she said, okay, and we did that book, and we were mostly through this book, Something Beyond Greatness, and we decided we really needed to go back to her to understand a little bit more about greatness. So I just thought I'd read you a passage of what she said, because I don't think anyone else in the world would have responded to our questions with the wisdom that she did. So in the course of working on this book, we sat with Dadi in India and asked her about those who everyone considers to be great, such as Mahatma Gandhi. She responded thoughtfully, yes, Gandhi was able to liberate India using nonviolent means, but remember, this was not his highest aim. His goal was to create Ram Raj, to create heaven on earth. This he was not able to do. He made so much effort to get independence for the people of India, but since then, corruption, competition, and divisiveness have actually increased. The people of India honored his life principles, but only in theory. He became very simple, and for a while, he was able to inspire others to be like him, but he was not able to create a sustained community of great ones. This is what we need at this time, not for one person to be great, but to create communities of greatness. So we asked her one more question. Is there something special about this time, something that will allow us not to make the mistakes of the past again? And she replied, yes. Kali Yuga is coming to an end. Satyug is coming. This is the time in between. This is the time when it's possible for us to know our true selves, to know God, and to have a relationship with God. We human beings cannot create a community of greatness. Even individual great ones like Gandhi and Mandela could not do this, but God can do this, and that is the task of this time. He accomplishes this task by awakening us, showing us who we really are. And at the same time that much of the world is in darkness, the first light of the new world is breaking. So much wisdom. We were so lucky. We were so lucky to have her with us. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Sister Judy. I'd like to welcome Brother Nick from the UK.
Even at this time, Dadi is organizing things. I think he must have touched Marta to invite me on this program. I just, of course, brings up thousands of little cameos. My first contact with Dadi was a room full of love. It says I should turn off my webcam here, so I'll turn it off.
You could turn it back on, Brother Nick. We could see you fine.
Okay. It was just saying
the
internet wasn't so good.
Oh, okay. All good now. Thank you.
So, yeah, that room was full of love. I didn't know who she was, a little old lady sitting on the gadi, room full of people sitting on the floor. and the room was filled with love. It was that prompted me to want to come regularly to the morning class. After that, later on, at that time I used to work in a school, used to teach handicapped children, and of course I take sandwiches, not to eat the canteen food. And one day I came to the centre in London, and Daddy had a gift for me, and it was a katori. A katori is this little 3-tiered or 4-tiered thing that you carry around with your food in it for lunchtime. And she wanted me to have cooked food at school. And it was really touching that she herself went by herself to the high street to go and buy this katori, just so I could get hot meals, or rather cooked meals. One time in Tennyson Road in London, and there was a box of sweets on the table. She was sitting there by herself, and the box had Greek writing on the outside. My background is Greek. I can read a little bit. And she said to me, Nick, what's in this? What's in these sweets? So I had a look at the ingredients. I could only make out 2 words that I understood: sugar and flour, and couldn't make out the other stuff, didn't know what it meant. And so I said, Daddy, I don't know. She said, take one. Take one. So I was caught between whether to follow the shrimat of not eating that which you don't know contents of, and of obeying Daddy. And I decided to obey her, and she smiled at that point. Another time I came, and she was there's a whole lot of washing up there in the kitchen. I said, Daddy, can I do the washing up? She said, no, this is my job. This is my job, to do the washing up. I found rather sweet. One time I came into the tiny little sitting room that they had in those days. Nowadays you see big buildings everywhere, but in those days it was in the 1970s. They're just a small little building. And she was sitting there, and I came in the room. I said, hello, Daddy, and it took her a bit of time to acknowledge my presence. And when she did, she was kind of dazed. She kind of didn't really look at me. She just said, Nick, that's what she said. And later in class, in the morning class the next day, she said, this is when Baba uses her subtle form to go and give visions to others, to serve around the world. And her experience is that she's kind of half there in a kind of daze. So I'd caught her in such a moment of half daze. Those days we couldn't wait to go to class. I'd get home from work. It was from school, in other words, so you get home 4:30, and I'd quickly eat something, and there was this magnetic pull to go to class. Well, it wasn't class, it was sharing. It's only 3 or 4 of us sitting in a tiny little room with Daddy, and she would share with us for an hour and a half, and kind of fortunate, wasn't it? There's a lot of things I don't know if I've got time to talk about.
Well, we do appreciate your sharing with us. We have
That's it.
Yes, thank you so much. We have Sister Mohini is ready. We just have Sister Marta from Spain to share. Thank you so much, Brother Nick. Sister Marta, thank you.
Om Shanti. I'm very happy to share with you. I was 15 years old when I met Daddy the first time. Whenever I would have holidays from school, I would go to London. I didn't speak any English at that time. This was around 86. So I would watch and observe the sisters and Daddy. I loved going to Murli class by car with Sister Janki driving. Going to Darden Hill, this was before Global House. Daddy seated next to her, behind myself with another sister. Daddy was the main teacher and she was going by car like us, like a student, so humble. I remember long back when it was the season in which we had the 25th anniversary of Baba becoming Abhiyact. At that time, I wrote a list of 25 inspirations I took from Madhuban. I gave that paper to Daddy. I sat on the bus ready to go back home when I was told that Daddy wanted to see me. So I went to her room. Daddy was sick. She was on her bed and said, Daddy liked one specific thing you wrote and is very happy because of that. Daddy sat, embraced me and gave me a gift. Daddy saw the potential inside. She always saw it. This is why she was loving and straightforward with me. Once she said, Daddy loves those souls for which Daddy has a right on them. Even when I was like a little ant, Daddy used to talk and relate to the powerful soul I didn't know I was. The last thing, I can't remember, this was in Spain in August last year. We were lucky to host European retreat and Spanish retreat with Daddy. In one of our meetings of the core group with Daddy and Janki Ben, we were sharing news about buying a house for Baba. This was the first time this was happening here. So Daddy, 103 years old, and listened with so much attention, understanding every single thing about money matters we were sharing and so many different details. And then she said, with so much strength, it will happen, with so much power that became the strength to overcome different types of situations we had to face. So Daddy's voice was there, resonating, and that it will happen with that like this, you know, this posture from Daddy, this it will happen, made it happen. So many different scenes of Daddy that come into my mind, how Daddy was there, the teacher, and also dancing with us. And so, yes, the grandmother, the mother, the friend, everything. Thank you, Daddy. You are still with us and you will be with us. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Sister Marta. We are going to now welcome Sister Mohini. Just taking a moment to set up our camera there. Om Shanti, Sister Mohini.
Om Shanti. After listening to so many beautiful experiences, the love which we all received and we all have for Dadi, I might be a little emotional at this time because especially when service in foreign land began and I was in London with Dr. Nimla, we decided to invite Dadi Janki to come to London, and also Sister Jayanti. And so the relationship which was formed had been very, very beautiful. And one time Dadi said that the vision we have for each other will help us to grow together. So she always had very, very elevated vision towards everyone, each one of us. And sometimes we didn't trust ourselves that much, but she knew that what each one of us will be doing for the world service, for the yajna sustenance, because she knew, she could see very clearly. She used to raise her finger, which or call out names. Many will come to me and say, but why did Dadi call out my name? Why she was showing the finger? But we knew that she was showing it not only our next step, but our final stage and destination. So keep remembering that what she said to each one of you. And of course, we have general teachings, that is many, many classes. So now, on behalf of double foreigners, I'm going to offer bhog to Dadiji Baba. Of course, bhog had been offered in Madhuban on behalf of the whole world family. But as we were meeting, I said maybe we should do it. I have one request, that to celebrate the meeting in subtle regions, it's very, very important. It's necessary for us to go beyond all the thoughts, because one of the biggest sound is actually of our own thoughts. And we have to go beyond the sound of our thoughts to go into that sweet silence where we are able to connect with our own awake stage, and then to angelic world or subtle world. And we are able to not only have meeting with Avyakt Dada, Dadiji, but also we will be able to listen, hear what Baba has to say, what Dadi has to say. This had been my recent realization, that the sound of our own thoughts doesn't allow us sometimes to hear what Bab Dada really wants to tell us, what time is calling us for, and what Dadi's wish is for all of us. So we all will sit in remembrance of Baba and then see how we all celebrate meeting with Dadi, being with Avyakt Dada in subtle regions. So we all will now sit in sweet silence in remembrance of Baba.
जा बाबा की अंतर द्वार उड़ जा प्यारे वतन में नीले अंबर के उस पार पंछी रे शिव परम धाम से योग सिखाने आए हैं, शिव योग सिखाने आए हैं। पावन और योगी बनने का शुभ संदेशा लाए हैं, शिव शुभ संदेशा लाए हैं। परम पिता पावन और योगी बनने का शुभ संदेशा लाए हैं शिव, शुभ संदेशा लाए हैं। परम पिता शिव परम धाम से योग सिखाने आए हैं शिव, योग सिखाने आए हैं।
तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद में जीते हैं बाबा, तेरी याद में जीते हैं बाबा, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं। रहे याद सदा ही साथ तेरी, रहे याद सदा ही साथ तेरी, बस और न हम कुछ चाहेंगे, बस और न हम कुछ चाहेंगे, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं, तेरी याद का अमृत पीते हैं। जो पल बीते तेरी यादों में, जो पल बीते तेरी यादों में, वो पल।
Om Shanti. We all are sitting to offer bhog to Baba. And as I was invoked by Baba in subtle regions, it is actually since Amrit Vela, I had been feeling the pull to be in subtle regions, and also in the morning I went to subtle regions so that I can spend more time with Dadi and Baba. So when I went now, I saw a very, very beautiful stage, and it was staged on the top of the globe. And it looked like a stage, but it was globe. And then Baba was standing on that stage of globe. And few seconds, Baba also invited Dadi Janki to come to stand next to him. It was a beautiful stage, like a semi kind of globe, and then stage on that. And two of them were standing. And when other side was shown, then we all were standing all around. It was a beautiful scene where it was deep, deep silence, and both Baba and Dadi, they were sharing very, very loving drishti with all of us. Of course, our hearts were full and our eyes were moist, and Baba just, Dadi kept looking at us in silence. Then, after taking drishti from Baba, I offered bhog to Baba. And I said to Baba that today we have brought bhog from on behalf of all double foreigner family. And Baba, with lot of love, accepted bhog and then looked at Dadi Janki, and Baba start feeding Dadi Janki also the bhog. Then after that, again, both of them looked at all of us, and Baba and Dadi, they both start waving hand. But then while waving hand, Dadi extended her hand, and just imagine so many of us. So again, she didn't shake hand, but she started waving again. And Baba said that Baba knows that all the children have so much love for Dadi. But Dadi had to come to join not only advance party, but also give another upliftment or take service on unlimited level. And the service, and also on other side, the conditions of the world, Baba said they all depend on your stage. That is why Baba is showing this world stage, that you all also have to have this awareness that we are on the world stage. Baba said that every soul who left Yagya, Baba became aware. Dadi Prakashmani, Mama left, and many, many souls left Yagya who were very, very good service, and there was shift in the world. But at this time, Dadi leaving the world, so Baba was looking at Dadi as if she is aware of what is going on in the world. And Dadi was very innocently looking at Baba as if she doesn't know. Because Baba said, Dadi, even when she was in the corporeal world, she never was interested to know what is happening in the world, because she always knew that world will be moving more towards more calamities and more destruction. But her thought always was to serve the souls, to give message to everyone. So Baba said, at this time also, what Dadi is giving signal to all of you that don't get affected by what is happening in the world, because all the children are very much aware of what is happening, and also they're taking precaution, they are careful. But Baba would say at this time, but don't get involved and use your intellect too much into world news, what is going on in the world. Because Baba said it is necessary to know, but you all have been given this time to prepare yourself and to see how much you can serve through the mind. So Baba said, I said to Baba, we are serving, we all are busy, and also we are serving online. So Baba said there are two lines, no? One is internet, but what is internet? Baba says your inner thoughts should create a net. That means it's not just through internet you keep busy sharing the message, sharing classes, sustaining the souls, but actually it has to do through your mindset. Not only internal set, but your mindset. create such a stage that your every thought not only reaches few, but it reaches the whole world. So prepare yourself and look at yourself. Are we ready to serve and sustain, give message where souls get awakened and they can get Baba's message? Baba looked at Dadi and said, Dadi, you want to say anything to all the children who have gathered? So Dadi said, they know what is in my heart. Baba says, still you must say. Dadi was in deep silence as I could see that it's the transition from corporeal world to subtle regions. She was with Baba even when she was in body, but now she was with Baba in subtle regions. So in that subtle form, Dadi looked very, very, very healthy and beautiful. No one should think of Dadi's body when body was not well, but Dadi looked so beautiful, so lovely, and so healthy. So keep that image in mind of Dadi as an angel in an angelic form. So again, when Baba looked at Dadi, Dadi said that all of them know that Dadi had always this thought to give message of Baba to the whole world, to glorify Baba. But also Dadi had lot of love for Yagya. Dadi had lot of love for Brahma Baba, for all Brahmin family. So as you all know, Dadi said that this was Dadi's love, and in all different ways, she always gave signals, always did something to show to all of you how to express that love into action. And when you express your love through the action, Dadi said, you all saw how I did it, where Dadi was able to inspire others to surrender, inspire others also to constantly belong to Baba and Yagya. It was not Dadi would say it, but Dadi set example. So Dadi said, I want all of you also at this time to always remember two things. One is that I have to use everything, my thought, my breath, my every scent, every moment in worthwhile way for accomplishment of Baba's task, and not waste time now into very, very small matters. Now, unlimited distaste, go beyond and glorify Baba and get this yagya accomplished, because the task of establishment has to get accomplished. Dadi also said, as you all are aware, and Dadi is becoming aware, that what is the world condition today is everyone is shaken. There is a lot of fear, a lot of worry. But Baba's children, because there is faith, there is contentment, and everyone has vision to create the new world. So everyone's thoughts, words are used to create this new world. So Dadi looked at everyone and said that Baba's signal towards everyone, time signal, and I also want to add and say that children, time is very short. Be good instruments and always, always share God's love with everyone. So Dadi was saying few things and then giving drishti. And then I also took drishti, and Dadi specially sent, I said, Daddy, I want to give everyone's love remembrance, but especially of Hansaben and Sister Jayanti also. And Baba and Dadi invited two of them to come in front and give a beautiful, beautiful flower to each one of them and give drishti. And while seeing all that, I returned to this corporeal one. Om Shanti. I think you all also had wonderful meeting, and we will plan in a way that everyone, it's not possible to share on a big 1 or 2 hours program, but at the center, everyone can share with the family there. What is your experience? What did you experience? And also, as I said, everyone has to go very often, no, to meet Dadi. So that means we will be going to subtle regions very often. As I told you, the method, go beyond the sound of your thoughts and go and meet Baba, Dadi in angelic stage. And we will continue to do that for rest of the conference age. And of course, we all will fulfill Babdada's and Dadi's wish very soon in short time of conference age. Also want to thank you all for joining in this webinar. Om Shanti.
मझधार से निकाला, बड़े प्यार से उठाकर पलकों में है संभाला, पलकों में है संभाला। पाकर के प्यार प्रभु का किस्मत गई संवर, हो गई है शाम। दिखता था दूर से जो कितना हसी नजारा, सब देख लिया है हमने, अपना ही घर है प्यारा, अपना ही घर है प्यारा। अब तो वही निशाना आता हमें नजर, हो गई है शाम। चलो लौट चले घर, हो गई है शाम। चलो लौट चले घर। प्यारा पिता बुलाता, प्यारा पिता बुलाता, पूरा